very much.
All righty, item 1, addition, deletions, changes, and approval of the agenda.
Mr. President, I have one walk-on item. Thank you. It is the continuation from the last meeting, the vacation and sick time that you asked for. If we could add that to the end.
All right.
I need to delete item 8A. Mr. Smith will not be able to attend tonight. And also need to delete item 2, Mayor's Student of the Month. The young man will not be able to attend.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. President,
Yes, sir.
I would actually like not to delete item 8A. I know it was a discussion, but I did put paperwork. I did want an opportunity to go over with the council so that when this matter's returned, you all are informed on this situation.
Okay. All righty. We'll put that back on there. Okay.
I move approval of the agenda with the deletion of item 2.
Can I get a second?
Any addition of the vacation and the...
Oh, and the deletion of item E for the vacation and sick time overreach. Thank you. I'll second.
All right, we have second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, we'll move to vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? 5-0. Item 3, proclamation, 56th Annual Professional Municipal Clerks Week, May 4th through 10th, 2025. Mr. Mayor Charles Goodman.
Could I have our municipal clerk, Latricia Wright, come up here with me, join me? Thank you very much. This is a proclamation. Whereas the office of municipal clerk, a time-honored, vital part of local government, exists throughout the world. And whereas the office of municipal clerk is the oldest among public servants. And whereas the office of municipal clerk provides the professional link between the citizens, the local governing bodies, and the agencies of government at other levels. And whereas municipal clerks have pledged to be ever mindful of their neutrality and impartiality, rendering equal service to all. Whereas the municipal clerk serves as the information center on functions of local government and community. Whereas municipal clerks continually strive to improve the administration of the affairs of the office of the municipal clerk through participation in education programs, seminars, workshops, and the annual meeting of their state, provincial, county, and international professional organizations. Whereas it is most appropriate that we recognize the accomplishments of the office of the municipal clerk. Now, therefore, I, Charles Goodman, Mayor of the City of Williston, do recognize the week, not the day, the week of May 4th through 10th as Municipal Clerks Week. And I further extend appreciation to our own municipal clerk, Latricia Wright, and to all municipal clerks for the vital services they perform and their exemplary dedication to the communities that they represent. Signed under my hand and seal in the council chambers of City Hall on this 6th day of May 2025. Latricia.
Congratulations, Miss Wright. All right, item 4, proclamation, Asian Pacific American Heritage Month. Mr. Mayor Charles Goodman.
I don't see any Asians in here. City Manager Sue Baudet, would you please join me? We do have an excellent Asian restaurant for those of you that have visited it. And it is my hope that the city manager will see this gets to them. And I'm going to read it. Asian Pacific American Heritage Month. Whereas May was established as Asian Pacific American Heritage Month by Congress in 1992. Whereas the Asian Pacific American Heritage Month is a celebration of Asian Americans, Native Hawaiians, and Pacific Islanders in the United States. And whereas the month of May was chosen to commemorate the immigration of the first Japanese people to the United States on May 7th, 1843, and to mark the anniversary of the completion of the Transcontinental Railroad on May 10th, 1869, because the majority of the workers who laid the tracks were Chinese immigrants. And whereas, despite generations of living and contributing to the fabric of American society, many Asian, Native American, and Pacific Islanders continue to be treated not as belonging and face persistent racism and stereotyping. And whereas since 9/11, South Asian Americans, especially those who are Muslim, Hindu, or Sikh, often face senseless violence and the harassment due to the color of their skin and the tenets of their faith. And more recently, since COVID-19 pandemic, Asians in general, particularly women and the elderly, have faced anti-Asian violence. And whereas May is a month to reflect on the rich diversity of the Asian Pacific community and the contributions Asian Americans, Native Hawaiians, and Pacific Islanders have made to our culture and our civic life. Now, therefore, I, Charles Goodman, Mayor of the City of Williston, hereby proclaim May as the Asian Pacific American Heritage Month in Williston, Florida, dated the 6th day of May, 2025. Would you please see this gets to the appropriate place? Thank you.
Alrighty, item 5, public participation. This is your first opportunity to address the council. At this time, anyone in the audience can come to the podium and speak for 5 minutes on any topic other than what is on the agenda. Please state your name and residence if you come up. And council, just a reminder, we do not have to comment.
Yes, my name is Tim Ecker, Northwest 225. Previous meetings, there was something that was brought up about the 7-cent sales tax and the 1 cent that the 1 cent extra tax. So I went online. I spent a lot of time online trying to figure out the money that the police department isn't getting from the 1 cent. So I went on the county. There's no documentation. I went to the state online looking. There's no documentation. Well, if this 1 cent is being taken out and the police department's not getting it, it should be some accountability where it's going or who is in charge of it. I'm not saying anybody here, but that's a lot of money over the course of a year. 1 cent being spent on every dollar when you purchase something, and so I don't think it's right for the money to be taken out and it's not given to the police department when they need it, just like everybody else around here. I've looked online and I've looked, and there's really nothing on here about where it's at. But like today, I spent another couple of hours just trying to find out where it's at. But there's no money showing anywhere where this money's supposed to be going to the police department. There should be some accountability here. And I don't know about the police chief here, but I'd be wanting my money to try to pay my officers more money or try to get better gear or whatever. That being said, I guess that'd be it for me tonight until the next one.
Anybody else? All right. Item 6, consent agenda. Just a note, the minutes will be on the May 20th agenda.
I believe our city manager has a comment on what the
Previous issue.
Okay.
So I put in front of you the history of the local sales tax and current rates. On page 8, you will see that Levy County has a small county surtax of 1% that was established on October 1st of 1992, and they have not repealed it, so it is still in effect. And I did speak with...
On page 2.
Okay. I did speak with the county manager about roughly an hour ago. She did provide me with a copy of the county budget, which Chief Rolls has in his hand. That 1% equates to roughly $5.5 million. I have not been able to get anything further from her in terms of where it's broken down, like each of the municipalities, what they get out of that $5.5 million. I can certainly, delve a little deeper and see if I can find that out for you. I apologize. I just got this information about an hour ago.
We need you.
I even went online to even see even what the sheriff's department gets and the other local police departments like chief and whatever. There's nothing on there about what they get. I even tried to get what the total sales tax that came in for the physical year. There's nothing. Other than there's a budget for the county and there's a budget for the city of Williston and the rest of it. But the money that's supposed to be coming in to pay these people, to me, that's almost like stealing. It should be being paid to these people. Whether it's a month or whatever by the year, that's their money to be getting. And if they're not getting it, somebody needs to be accountable for. And I don't know. I don't think it's right that he can't get his money whenever he could be paying his police officers more money. So maybe they can stay here instead of want to go somewhere else. So, anyway.
Council President,
Yes, sir.
I know I kind of got an idea what he's talking about, and I'm not sure how it's broke down. I don't know if it's broke down that it goes to the police department or road department. I have no idea. I talked to the city manager about it, and after I realized that he was going to bring it up, I talked to her about it. She was able to get a little bit of research done on it, but as far as how it's broken down, I have no clue. And I don't think the city manager does at this time either. But 5.4 is a lot of money.
Do we know when was that put into play?
1992.
Yeah, she said 1992.
That's a lot of years. $5 million a year.
It is.
I think this came up once before when the previous city manager was here, and it was brought to my attention, so I asked him about it. But I think this is as far as we've gotten with it under our new city manager. I think this is the first actual money figure that we've seen.
I'm not aware that it's actually designated to police or
I
police
don't know.
departments. I think it's strictly it's a local option sales tax for the county. I don't think it's designated for law enforcement or anything else. It's for them. Every county in the state of Florida has the option to put on a local option sales tax. And you can exercise it in any half cent, whole cent, whatever. And they opted for a 1 penny. And that's why we're 7% sales tax, and other counties are 6, and we're 7. So that's why even when you go online and you order something, it asks you where you're from, so it can tell how much to charge you tax, whether it's 6 or 7 or 8 even, or 6.5. I know my former employer, we sold things online as well, and we had to know where they were from in order to know how much tax to charge them. Whether it was 6%, 6.5, 6.25. 7, whatever, for Levy County, and I think that's probably about the highest there is a 1%. I don't know that it's designated for law enforcement or anything else for that matter.
Yeah, I don't either. I just know there's other counties that have it that it's strictly towards law enforcement, and they divide it into different cities within their county. So I don't know how this one's set up. I have no knowledge of that, and all me and the city manager can do is just keep trying to get information on it until we can figure out.
They ought to have it when they passed it in 1992, and it should say. Should be able to go all the way back to that ordinance and find it. Yep.
Yes, ma'am. Yep. Please come up to the podium.
And please state your name and address.
Stephanie Monteagudo, 460 Northwest 4th Street. Very interesting topic. Is there like a budget that's like in place? Oh, sorry. Oh, is there a budget that's in place for the city?
Oh yeah.
That like, I guess just like where is the accounting for it?
This is county, not city.
Well, a city. I guess where's the city budget for like all the accounting as where the funds go?
This is not in our budget because we don't collect it. The county does.
Oh, the county does. But
Yes, ma'am.
does it allocate it to the city for the police department?
No.
No.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Mr. Eckert's saying that it might be, or it should. He does. We're trying to find out. That's what he's questioning. Is where is it supposed to go? I think it's just general fund.
Well, when you go on there, it's really confusing. You read one, and it says it could be used for county, and then the other one, when you read, it can be used for the police department. They can use for payroll. They can use it for equipment. They can use it for their discretion. But it doesn't really clarify about see what I was trying to break down is how much Williston gets, and then how much Chiefland gets, and stuff like that. But my thing was, it wasn't no clarification there as far as how much Williston is supposed to get per year on each one. But it did state when I was reading on there that they can be for payroll, it can be for equipment or whatever. But I just think there's some money, a lot of money missing that belongs to this department.
Mr.
And
President,
whether it be
that's
the
time.
county that's not paying them.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep.
So,
Thank you, sir.
anyways.
Mr. President,
Yes, sir.
may I address Councilor Jones?
You may, sir.
Councilor Jones, you, of all of us, have the greatest memory. Do you have any idea what they used to sell to the citizens of Williston and the county to get them to approve a 1%, or was it just approved by the county commission, or was it a referendum for the citizens?
To my recall, it was just put on there by the county.
By the county
I
commission?
can't remember it ever being a referendum.
You don't remember any referendum?
I do not.
Where the people voted to be taxed?
The only referendum I can really remember is the bed tax, the tourism development. And we did that first time it failed, the next time it passed. That's the only one I can remember.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Sure. Please state your name, where you're from.
My name's Dan Kaufman. I reside at 32 Northwest 4th Street.
Okay.
And what I'd like to know is I attended a meeting probably 3 or 4 weeks ago on the fire assessment program. And I was wondering where that went because your consultant was here trying to sell you on going through this process. And it seemed to be they had an urgency that they needed it done by a certain date. And I've heard nothing else about it, nor have I seen another meeting on it. So I'd like to have some more information on it, if I may. Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Stiegel, would you like to?
If I can just briefly on that. We just received a draft of the next document that you all will need to receive. We received that today, so it'll be on your next agenda.
Okay, thank you. Is that good? Yep.
Next agenda.
Okay. All right, so back to item 6. Consent agenda, and the minutes will be back on the 20th. So really we just...
Yep. Information only.
Information. All right, item 7, updates.
I'm sorry. Can we go back to item 6? I apologize. That should have said April. April minutes. Minutes.
Yes.
But they're going to be on the May 20th.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's going to be on the May. Yeah, you're right. I'm sorry.
It's good.
I'm confused.
All right. Staff and board and council updates. All right, first up, City Manager Sue Baudette.
Thank you, Mr. President. All right, couple of updates for you. Wednesday, April 23rd, Thursday, April 24th, I attended the 2025 Florida League of Cities Insurance Summit in Fort Myers, which is always interesting because they like to tell us what's coming our way. On the property side, they said that the frequency hasn't changed of storms. However, the values have changed of obviously, how much they're paying out. Hurricane Ian was the second costliest insured catastrophic loss in their history. They are telling us to expect 10 to 15% property rate reductions. I know, right? Let's hope. That's the property side. On the health side, they said their healthcare costs are still increasing roughly 7 to 12% because of the GLP-1s. And that 20% of the employees are driving about 80% of their claims. So you'll probably see some increases there. Manjaro, Ozempic, the weight loss / diabetes drugs. On the claim side, this was interesting. I didn't know this, but liability on a sewer backup claim is determined by care, custody, and control, and they do offer courtesy cleanup through the Florida League of Cities due to the health and regardless of who the claimant is. So I don't know if we've ever enlisted their assistance, but we can because it's a health safety issue. Then Tuesday, April 29th, attended the North Florida Transportation Planning Summit in Live Oak. I learned about a grant that I did not know of. Laura may know about it, but you guys know about the HMGP grant, which is a 4-year period of performance. It's got a 75% federal funding with a 25% non-federal, and that's for things like generators, elevations, mitigation planning. There is also an HMGMP, which is for the 25% match. So we actually can apply to get 100% of the funding. It's through Florida Commerce, and they have allocated $82.1 million for that. So if we were to get the HMGP, we could go after that for the match. Then Thursday, of course, last Thursday, May 1st, I attended the National Day of Prayer at Heritage Park, which Patricia did a great job in organizing. Friday, May 2nd, attended Law Day on the Swanee River in Chiefland with Chief Rolls, my first time attending. Arizona was there as well. Today and tomorrow, Jonathan and Mike are attending the 2025 Hurricane and Storm Preparedness Forum in Jacksonville. I gave you a little flyer on that in your packet. You also have before you the brochure that we put together on the Williston Animal Shelter. Laura did a great job on this, so it's a little kind of fold out if you guys want to take a look at that. It's got a cute puppy and kitty on front. And then just wanted to go over some recent legislation. Donald's going to address House Bill 818 that passed. It's a utility relocation bill, but wanted to let you know I just kind of picked like 6 of them to kind of go over that have all failed, which we've been watching intently. Senate Bill 202, that was regarding municipal water and sewer utility rates. Basically, we would have to charge the same rates for in-city and out-of-city limits. That failed. House Bill 1523, that was the utility services transfer bill, where we wouldn't be able to transfer so much money from the utility to the general fund. That failed. Senate Bill 1704, we would have to hold public meetings for unincorporated areas. So again, areas outside of city limits. That failed. House Bill 991, we've been intently watching that one. That's the CRA bill. Failed. House Bill 301, that was increasing the limits for sovereign immunity. That failed. And then Senate Bill 810, that was on stormwater management systems, where we would have to do yearly inspections for stormwater systems. That also failed. So the majority of the ones that we were watching have failed. And last but not least, I wanted to introduce everybody to Vicki Corbin. Vicki, if you'll stand up, please. She's our new administrative assistant. She started with us yesterday. And our HR director, Kimberly Troy, is scheduled to start with us next Monday on May 12th. So you'll see her at the next council meeting. And that's all I
Excuse
have.
me. Who is the HR director?
Kimberly Troy is her name. She's not with us tonight, but she will be with us at the next council meeting. Thank you, Mr. President.
Ms. Baloo, do you have anything? Please, Chief Rolls.
Okay, I have a couple things. Recently, I've been attending the county commissioner meetings representing the city of Williston. They've been going pretty well. Recently, I've had 2 officers that have left. We're in the process of hiring 2 more officers to replace those 2 that have left. Glad to report that Officer Goodson and Officer Wink completed the PFC test today and were promoted to that rank. That's Patrol First Class. The vehicle update from Dunellen, they had it on their agenda last night. They talked about it. By law, they have to surplus, so they have to put them out for bid. And based on that, they will let us know where we're at. So I'm waiting to hear back on them. I think their next meeting, they're going to talk about it. The weapons, the firearms, we should be able to go ahead and move forward with those because they're under that $5,000 mark that the law requires. So as soon as I get an update on that, I'll pass it along and let you all know. But so far, things are going pretty good. They have allowed us to utilize their speed trailer. Very nice speed trailer, if I may say. And we've had it out.
I
And
started to say, did you put it on Alexis Road?
it was in front of her house.
I know you wanted one.
I wanted to make sure she's seen it. and I think it did its job. We're in the process of doing a calibration on it, and once we get it back up and calibrated, we'll be putting it back out. But thanks to them for allowing us to use it for the time being. Hopefully they'll forget about it. But that's all I have.
All right. Fire Chief Stiegel. You good, Mr. Stiegel? Mr. Aaron? You good? Mr. Lord? Mr. Barber?
Yes, sir. Real quick, Block 12 update. They have been continuing work all week this week. For some of you who are not aware, we did have an issue with some of the things that we unearthed on the site. Those are being dealt with. DEP had to be contacted, and we had to do some mitigation there on some issues. All that's been taken care of and was finished yesterday. They are having 2 of their excavators go on vacation in the next couple of weeks, and also we're expecting some inclement weather, so you will see the site kind of shut down next week. We're also waiting on structures, so that's the only holdup on continuing with the main ground development are your sanitary structures, your manholes, all of that. We've ordered those from Del Zotto, and we're waiting on those. We also, Nikki and I went around to all the business owners as was requested by council. We had conversations with them. We spoke to them and talked to them about their concerns about parking and shared with them areas that they could resolve that. So I just wanted to give you an update on that. Secondly, you'll notice that you have a paper on your dais. It's stapled. It says at the top, the Florida Senate. And if you want to look at that, because this is one of the bills that did pass, Senate Bill 818, and this deals with utility relocation. The form that it passed, thankfully, was much different than the form that it was originally introduced as. This was requiring that a specified amount of communication services be distributed by the Department of Revenue by non-operating transfer to the Department of Commerce in monthly installments through grants and donation trust funds. And this was transferred to the local government half-cent sales tax clearing trust fund. That's what it is in its final form. It was funded at $50 million. So I'll break it down in layman's terms, and you can track and see all the differences there on the sheet that I gave you. This is DOT comes in, or there's some sort of large road project. And many times when you widen, let's say 75 or 200 going through Ocala, or Newberry Road in Gainesville, or let's say 27, 41, or 121 here through Williston, it can require that there is a moving of utilities. Because like out on 27, when they widened it years ago, we have manholes that are in the middle of a lane. And I can tell you, working out in the field for many years, it's not fun to be standing there hoping that no one crashes into your vehicle and kills you, especially when you're half in a hole. So nowadays, they relocate a lot of this infrastructure when they go and they widen and they change the roadways. When this bill was introduced at the beginning of the session, it basically stated that the burden of the cost of relocating those was completely and solely on the utility. So that means that they could come here to 41 South or 41 North and say, we're widening this. You have to move all your gas, you have to move your sewer, you have to move your water, and you have to do it by this date, and you have to pay for it. Thankfully, amendments were introduced, and they quashed that. I think a lot of that work and credit goes to the League of Cities and a lot of other organizations that were associated with. It did pass in its final form, but what they stated is that now there's this $50 million fund, which I'm assuming that's going to be annual, that will go to the cost to the local utilities to hire out, or if they're capable themselves, to move and relocate those utilities. There's more information to come on how those funds would be dispersed. I'm going to be having Wright Pierce look into that for us so that we can kind of get ahead of the game if one's ever proposed here locally. But that is basically, in a nutshell, what Senate Bill 818 does.
Thank you, sir. Okay, rest of staff? Okay.
I forgot to ask one question, and I know we haven't talked about it in a while, so maybe Donald or Laura can give me a brief update on the movement of Cornelius Williams Park.
So we will tell you that we have gotten contact from the county, and we're in talks with them to possibly annex the park, and that it would become part of the city, that it doesn't have to be contiguous, and that the zoning and all the information would basically be on us.
The holdup was that the Levy County did not have proper zoning for a park of this sort. So our impervious surfaces and other issues for zoning were not working. And I was working with the county to try and do either a land development code change, which is intense and difficult, a variance, which I'm not for variances before construction. That's not what the point of a variance really is, or to try to find another way to do it. Well, the attorneys for the county contacted me, contacted the planner, and then she contacted me and said that this can be annexed because it does not create an enclave, and it is contiguous to the city on a street. So I can do that in 6 weeks, and then we can get started out there. So that was the holdup for the past few months or so, because we really didn't know how we were going to put a park on their land. It just didn't meet their zoning at all. So hopefully this is good news, and y'all annex it in when I bring it to you next time.
Okay.
That's crazy. So
Thank
it's
you, ma'am.
only contiguous by US 27A. That's crazy.
But because it doesn't create an enclave, it doesn't make a pocket of county, it's okay. So we're going to move in that direction.
Does it meet our charter
What do you
for
mean?
annexation? Says it has to be contiguous.
No, Kirsten can help me with that, but
So I'm going to do, I know that this is sort of different than what we usually do. Laura and I just had this conversation for the first time maybe an hour and a half ago. So what I would like to do is have some time to put together a memorandum of law, essentially, for you explaining how we get to where we get to.
Okay, Mr. Stiegel.
Yes, sir. The airport's already kind of like this.
I was going to say that it's essentially like the airport. It's only contiguous by the road.
Right.
Okay.
yeah, if you look at the city limits for the airport, it kind of skips over the road. So that shouldn't be a problem. But yeah, I'm sorry, that was the holdup. It was a very difficult project to try and get the land development code changed to meet the requirements of what this park needs to be for us.
Alrighty, thank you. Okay.
Great question. Whoever answered that question. Who asked that question? About the park. You did that one. Great question. Thank you.
Okay, council.
I have a question for the chief. Just need to know an update on your simulation out at the.
Great question.
Want to go play? Do you? It was.
Yes. So next week I will be setting or trying to get a date for our time from each one of you to find out when you can come out and go on the simulator starting next week. So great question. I'm ready. I'm excited. And we got something in store for you.
Uh-oh, we're going to get ourselves killed, huh?
Thank you, sir.
Maybe
Look
I want to
forward to it.
retract that question. Thank you.
Hey, council, anything else? No? Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have nothing.
All right, thank you, sir. All right. Item 8, new business. A, discussion with possible action, water and sewer issues at 1106 Northeast 3rd Avenue, resident Cameron Smith. Mr. Barber.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. So on July 30th of 2022 at approximately 10:51 a.m., Christy Richardson, who was a technician at that time, received a call from the Williston Police Department that the homeowner at 1106 Northeast 3rd Ave had a broken pipe. Turned out to be the water main. There was no 811 ticket. It was digging up and repairing and replacing a septic tank, which had no permit from the Department of Health, no permit from the city of Williston. In doing so, the water mains on that street on Northeast 3rd Ave are quite far into the properties, quite a bit further than most any other place in the city. We do have a legal easement. And when an unqualified excavator came and just sat on a random tractor, they ripped up the water main and disrupted the service. So that day, it was on a Saturday, I believe, I and some others showed up and we made repair to the water line, fixed the main, did boil water notices for the whole area, and then, of course, we called the police because of the nature of it. This is when a lot of the development time period after COVID was starting to gear up, and we were starting to have a lot of damages. So at the time, we were encouraged by the city manager at that time to get together a schedule of what the cost was for the water loss, for the repairs, for the staff. The back sheet of the paper, that's the report from the tech at the time, has the breakdown of that. Of labor, trucks, equipment, parts, and whatnot. Of course, these were prices then. This would be a lot more expensive now. And these are all FEMA rates. So we look at the FEMA schedule and we do it based on that rate. A invoice, which is the second one, second page that is submitted in your packet, was given to Mr. Smith based on that cost. He made remittance of payment. The third sheet is the police report that was given, and this was taken care of. I know Mr. Smith has come with each time a city manager has changed, and he's wanted to address this, which is definitely his right. But this time I wanted to make sure you guys had the case number, the report from the technician at the time, how he broke down the costs. And if you have any questions about the incident, you're more than welcome to reach out to me. We have all the records, and I'm sure if we tried hard enough, we could track down some pictures of all the damage. So that's all I had to add on that.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Can I add that to my recall, what he wanted was sewer? Is that correct? What he wants is the sewer.
Long term, he's asking for the sewer, and we applied for septic to sewer for that area, but it's one of the grants this year that they turned us down and everybody in Levy County on.
Yeah, if I remember, the sewer's on the wrong side of the road.
It's not that far. It stops at 9th Street, and he's past 11th.
He's at 11th, yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and I think that's what he's come before. I don't know that he's ever asked for his money back.
Yes, he has.
He has? Okay, I don't know that I've heard him ask for his money back, but I know he wanted sewer. Because it's an apartment. He doesn't live there, right? It's some rental.
It's a house. It's a 3-2 house. It is a rental.
It's a rental that he
Yes,
owns,
ma'am.
right? That's my recall from before. Okay, so I guess he'll show up and tell us what he wants.
To clarify, and the bill is paid?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
He paid it in 22.
Absolutely.
Yeah, 1920 and 2022.
Okay.
So,
All
I
right.
said I don't know that he wants money. I think he wants sewer.
Okay. Next on the list is item B, discussion with possible action. Water leaks around the city, resident Timothy Ecker. And if council and everybody will ask questions when he's done with this presentation, if that's okay.
Do what now?
We'll ask questions when he's done with this presentation.
Sure.
Yes, I've been concerned about all the leaks around Williston, and it's not like a leak for a day or two. Sometimes it's weeks or it seems like a month. Like Sister's Place, they just fixed it like 3 weeks later or a month later, and then I noticed today, just like the next place down, now that's leaking. But I rode around town today on my own time, and there's a leak on Southeast 2nd Street and 4th. Where address 329. There's one on Southeast and South 1st Street, which is right down there, just past the police department. They had just fixed it. I came up and made a complaint right up here, and it's still leaking. They just put a couple little cones around it. The accountability here is non-existent. And then by the we used to be the Badcock. It's been leaking there for a year. They just finally went around there and dug a little hole around it, put a couple little cones, and I talked to Grayson about it, and he said he came up here and he complained about it again. And then there's a leak directly behind Sister's Place, which is what I just said. Then you got Lane's Hardware. Talked to Frankie about this, why there's always water. He said 3 weeks ago it was checked out, and he said it's the city's water leaking. It's not his leaking, or he would have had it fixed. There's nothing been done about it. You can go look at the mud puddle over there. Question is, who's responsible? And then here's the other part. Southeast 9th and 1st Avenue. It's leaking on the edge by the stop sign. You can see where they fixed it on the left side, but the right side is boiling up right there at the edge of the road. The man told me, Mr. Alvin told me, he said it's been leaking for a year. Then you got another serious leak out there on Southeast 10th and where 323 goes by. It's right there by the edge of the road across from the old peanut sheller. And then there's one on Southeast 10th Street, right there in front of the apartments, right there on apartment 135. I talked to the girl there, and she said it's been leaking really bad for 3 weeks. They got a big orange cone around it to cover the hole up. And she said, I'm like this. We're in drought situations. Y'all are charging us double for water, and I'm watching it pour in the ground for free. There's no accountability. I want to know who is accountable for not doing this job. Because in the real world, if I owned the plumbing company, you would be broke overnight trying to fix these things and going back and going back and going back. I mean, if y'all don't think if it's serious, something's really wrong here, because there's got to be thousands of gallons of water a week running into the ground that y'all ain't making no money on. I mean, and I'm sure there's other places. I mean, when you ride by and you keep seeing the same old, and nothing is being done, when something needs to be done about it and it's not, the accountability is not there, somebody should be fired or demoted. That's all I have to say.
Mr. Barber, would you like to say anything?
Would I like to say anything? No.
Mr. President.
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor.
I would like to. Thank you. Some years back, my memory is not as great as Councilor Jones, but I think it was 3 city managers ago, and I'm not going to use any names, it would be no point. I, at a number of council meetings, queried the city manager. I said, we're talking about conserving water. Can you tell me how much water is leaking from the city? And I had to ask him 3 or 4 times. And ultimately what he told me was, a certain amount is allowed in percentage, and we are within the amount allowed to be leaking from city water systems. Didn't much like the answer. And based on this, I don't much like the answer now. But obviously, no system is perfect. But I thought 5 years ago, 7, 8 years ago, that there seemed to be a lot of water missing. And that was before we started increasing rates. So this has been a long-term issue. It's not a new issue. So I just will hope that this council will take it to heart, and that our new city manager, who is being bombarded from left to right all the time, would also look into it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
I would just comment too. I can't, in concept, disagree with what Mr. Eckert said. There are leaks in the roads everywhere. You can drive around, you can't miss them. They're everywhere. I know why they're there, and you're right. The system is old. I know that there have been some concerted efforts to fix them, and you're right. Fix this one, another one pops up. It's not the same place. It's just down the road from it, or down the block from it. It's an old system, and we have applied for a lot of loans, a lot of grants from rural water, trying to get the dollars to fix them, because we don't have that kind of reserve sitting around to do it.
Yes, ma'am.
That's one reason that we did raise the rates, because the people that we went to for loans and grants said, if you don't raise the rates, we're not going to make you a loan.
Yes, ma'am.
And so that's what we had to do in order to even get on the table to even talk to them about grants.
Yes, ma'am.
Or loans. So I can't disagree with what you said in principle.
Yes, ma'am. But
they're trying.
But some of them are severe leaks. They're not like a little leak. It's like you can hear it gurgling out of the water, out of the ground. But it seems to me that there could be a concerted effort to make plans on making the grid better by, say you get together and say, all right, let's fix this block. Let everybody know this block, and make a concerted effort to fix it. Besides, let's do a little Band-Aid and a little Band-Aid and a little Band-Aid. And at the same time, let everything else just go awry. And when somebody's getting paid to do a job, they should be doing it with pride. Not look aside. I mean, I do construction work for a living. I do concrete, and I work with pride. I'm only as good as my last job, and then that's how I do things. I mean, I stay busy. I don't do no advertising, but whenever you take no pride in your job, or it looks like you don't, then you should either step aside or find somebody else to do the job.
You can speak. Public.
Hey, I'm Joey Penny. I live at 43 Northwest 4th Street. I just want to say, between Gainesville and Ocala, we have not that many leaks. And another thing, our system is so old, by the time they go and try to fix one spot, it just falls apart when they go put a cap on it. And I've seen it. So, our staff does a good job. I had a water main break over by my house. They had it dug up and fixed in 3 hours. And just to let you know, there's not enough people in this community that works here that can take care of all that. So just to let you know, they're
Thank you,
doing
sir.
what they can do.
All right. We shall end this here. All right. Go to item C.
Mr. President,
Yes, ma'am.
per our agreement, because I have made this extremely long, I will read it.
Both of them, the next two.
Both of them, yes, both the next two. This is Resolution 2025-63, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Williston, Florida, approving and entering into an agreement between the City of Williston, Williston Crossings West, LLC, and Williston Crossing East, LLC, regarding exclusivity of the provision of Internet services on private property, authorizing the City Council President to execute the agreement, and providing an effective date. The first comment I'm going to make is that the resolution title needs to be amended. After I submitted the materials, we discovered that just Williston Crossings West owns both of the pieces of property that we're talking about, so you can just nix out Williston
That answers
Crossings
one of my
East.
questions on why the signature was only one.
Yes.
Perfect.
I'll let Donald talk to you about sort of how we got to here, because this is his brainchild, his idea.
So we have to be competitive with fiber anywhere we go, but private property would be the exception to that. Williston Crossings owning their system and their residential area approached us and said that they were interested in getting out of the internet business, right, as we are talking about getting into it. They have on their lowest season generally 200 people on their internet provision, and in peak season that rises up to about 450. These are folks that do month-to-month subscriptions to what they provide them, which is not a great internet, but it's really the only option in that area. So we worked with them. We worked with Hector. We worked with the bank. We worked with the Crossings and Kirsten and everyone. We came up with a depreciation. We've got them to guarantee us sole exclusive rights to their property for telecommunications. There are some exceptions to that, like systems that they currently have running their offices and things like that. You know, they're not required to remove those, but they can't bring in anybody new. We won't have competition coming in as far as internet. Now, again, another exception to those are, let's say, Starlink or any kind of mobile cell service that you have internet through, T-Mobile, Verizon, things of that nature. That's nothing that we can control, nor would we want to. But this is a great deal for us. There was basically around $431,000 that's added to the loan to go ahead and do their entire area, and they're guaranteeing that basically over the payment of the 20 years of the loan, that they won't pull out and allow anyone else to come in and offer those services. This takes our rate of what we receive as far as customer base, and it immediately jacks it up into year two predictions. So that's phenomenal for us, because when you hear about the loan shortly, you'll hear that there's a time period where we don't have to make payments. So that time period of having that customer base within the first year where it wasn't included to have that count really will be a boon to replacing any kind of money that we take out and getting ahead of those payments, or possibly even putting new customers and more neighborhoods on, which will also have a higher rate of return. So we're excited about this. As you saw 2 meetings ago, Teresa she's the manager there at the Crossings and the owner, they're excited about this. She came and she shared that with all of you. And so we wanted to lock this agreement in before you were to approve any kind of loan that would contain it.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. President, I'm just going to add a little bit about the agreement itself. The provisions that we have, one of the most important things that we wanted in there was the liquidated damages provision that you're going to see on, I believe it's page 2 of the document itself, page 19 of your packet. Essentially what we have come to an agreement with Williston Crossings is that they understand that we're putting in money in order to provide this infrastructure, and that if they were to breach our contract, it would cost us money. So we're putting in a provision called liquidated damages, which essentially just means we've agreed beforehand what the damages are going to be based on the year in which any breach occurs. So if in year 5 they decide that they no longer want to be part of this agreement and they breach the agreement, then we have an amortization schedule which is attached to the agreement, which says this is how much now that this is worth, that this has cost us, that we haven't been able to pay down with your customer base. Hector was good enough to put that together for us and really helped us out with that. So we have basically an agreement on if there is a breach, this is how much they'll pay us back. This will be recorded on the land. This agreement will run with the land. So if there is any change in ownership, this agreement will remain. So if Williston Crossings is sold to another company, then that company would also be subject to this agreement. So it'll be recorded on the piece of property as well. So those are just a couple of the things that we put in here to make sure that we have adequate protection as the city, so that we can make sure that this is a good agreement for all. So I'm happy to answer any more questions, but those are just the highlights I wanted to hit for you all.
Anybody got any questions?
So she answered the one I had.
Mr. Mayor?
Thank you, Mr. President. I have asked about this several times, and the last time I asked about it, I was told that, I said, when's this internet actually coming? And I was told that the holdup is the bank. Do we or do we not have a loan ready and a bank willing to do that loan?
Item D.
So next thing on the agenda, and the banker sit right there.
Hi, Mr. Banker. Are you going to give us the money? Okay. Thank you. All my answers just got taken care of.
All right. Thank you. D. Alexa?
Sure.
Fire away.
I make a motion we approve Resolution 2025-63.
A second.
We have a first, we got a second. We got any other discussions? All right. Hearing none, then all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? 5-0. Item D.
All right, Mr. President, this is Resolution 2025-64, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Williston, Florida, authorizing a loan in a principal amount of not to exceed $4,667,774 to finance the cost of the installation of broadband utilities and to pay costs of such loan, approving the form of a revenue note and a loan agreement, delegating to certain official of the city take certain actions and to execute any documents and take any actions required in connection with the issuance of said loan, designating the note as a bank qualified obligation under Section 265B of the Internal Revenue Code of 1986, as amended, providing other details with respect thereto, and providing an effective date. This is the loan that we've been talking about and working on for what feels like an eternity, but here we are. The attachment that you'll see to the resolution is the loan agreement itself. So I'm happy to answer any questions. I feel like we've talked a lot about this, so I don't want to rehash every bit of it. And I'll also give it over to Donald for anything that he would like to add.
So this is identical to the schedule that you were given as a promise and commitment from Seacoast Bank. Mr. Justin Head is here. He can basically relate that the form that we went over, it was roughly a month ago, is still strong. It's exactly what was offered. It's exactly what's being delivered. You guys asked a bunch of questions as to the terms and whatnot then. I don't believe there's really anything that's changed in any way, shape, or form to that original agreement. So this is just what we promised we would try and deliver. I want to thank Seacoast Bank. I want to thank Kirsten, and I want to thank Hector for all the work, the hard work that they've put in. And I think that this is a very favorable loan on behalf of the city, and this is why we wanted to deal with a local bank versus, dealing with a Bank of America or Capital City or not Capital City, Capital One, excuse me, or one of those types of institutions. So I think that you guys have some very favorable terms here, and if he has anything to add, he's more than welcome to.
Yes.
Yes, sir. Like old times.
I will be brief. Justin Head, Seacoast Bank. First, just I want to thank the council and the whole team for allowing us the opportunity to put a bid in on this and see if we could accomplish this for you. I'll apologize for some of the delays. That was on us, and we just had a few changes procedurally, no issues within the loan. Just we ended up having to refer this over to legal counsel, and we had to find an attorney that also had bond counsel on staff. So it just took a little longer than we expected, but they were pleasant to work with. We got it done as quick as possible and much faster than some of the 90 to 120-day quotes we got. So I want to thank Hector and Kirsten, and of course Donald. He did a great job, and the whole team worked. And other than that, everything is as you were presented on the original term sheet. So if anybody has any questions about any of that, payment structure or anything, fire away.
It is a big loan. I can see why it took longer.
And Holland and Knight was absolutely, they were the bond counsel. They were absolutely great to work with. So
absolutely.
I think most of the, and I don't know if you want them here, a couple of questions that I have, I don't really have to do with the bank loan, but they're in here. So I don't really know. They may pertain to the bank and I don't realize it. Can you, on page 26, can you talk to me about J? Item J.
So what is that on our page, Mr.
Your
62
page number
in the
is
packet.
62, I'm sorry.
Okay, thank you.
62 in the packet. And I don't think it has really to do with the bank. I think it has to do, go to J. It may have to do with the bank and I just don't realize it. But I'm telling you, this is legalese from the word go. Reading the definitions, it took me longer to get through the definition pages and pages of definitions before I could even start reading the thing.
And if you just give me 1 second, I'm sorry. It's a long agreement, so I want to familiarize myself with.
Kirsten, it starts on page 59 of the packet, page 23. It's section 4.07, covenants of the issuer regarding the system, and that's a clause J of it.
Right.
Right. I just kind of want to know what exactly. I read it one way, but I want to make sure what it really means. It says mandatory connections, no competing system. That's the topic.
Mm-hmm. So yes. Essentially what this means is, to the extent that we're able to require connections, and this is very sort of boilerplate language that you see in a lot of these kinds of loan agreements. A lot of the time you see them more with like sewer or water, where you have a lot more power.
Yeah.
It does have in there to the extent permitted by law. So to the extent that we can say you must, i.e. we need to enforce our contract for exclusivity with Williston Crossings. But we can't go outside of Florida law and require people to connect to the internet.
That's why.
Now, Ms. Jones, on this was actually a good clause for us on behalf of the city, because if we change our development code, which we've been talking to Laura about, and let's say a new development comes in and we do something similar to gas, and we say, when you build the development, you need to put in a space for telecommunications, then we can be their first right of refusal in offering those telecommunications. So that also helps us in that regard as well.
That is what I thought that it meant. I just wanted to make sure I was reading it. It's really nothing to do with the loan itself, but it's in the loan agreement. It does produce revenue or extra revenue. Okay, that's really the only question.
It incentivizes us to encourage revenue.
Yes, it encourages revenue. Yes, it does.
And your revenues are pledged as collateral for the loan to the bank, so therefore the bank wants to make sure you maximize that at every chance you can.
I guess my second question is, did we roll a couple of other loans into this?
No.
I didn't make... No.
There was some discussion when we were trying to push this forward about being creative and sort of trying to consolidate some things, but we decided to just start.
Decided not to. Okay.
They are mentioned in one segment, and that's because the collateral also serves as collateral on those loans.
Okay.
So they're referenced
I did see them there. That's why I wasn't quite sure.
They're referenced there on parity with this loan for collateral sake.
Appreciate it. Right, on parity.
Okay.
Oh my God.
That's it. All right.
I make a motion that we approve resolution 2025-64 as read and discussed.
Second.
We have a first, we got a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none. All in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? 5-0. All right. Item E, sick time sheets.
Thank you, Mr. President. Okay, I gave you 2 sheets tonight that have vacation payout, potentially, and sick time. So you asked for 4 things from the last meeting. You asked for number of vacation hours. That's what the longer sheet is. It has payout all the way down to 200 hours. Of course, the employee manual requires that you're not supposed to carry more than 288, but of course we want to leave a little room for people to continue accruing those hours. So that's the first sheet. You asked for sick hours. That's the second sheet. We only have 1 employee that is over the 800 hours. That's on that shorter sheet. And then you asked for the dollar figures for payout. That is in that last column, the payout column. So if we were to pay out everybody right now, all of the employees that have over 200 hours of vacation time, it would cost the city $75,457.55. And for sick, of course, they can only cash out a quarter of their sick time. So the 1 employee, if he cashed out anything over the 800 hours, it would be $509.80. So pretty minimal there. The last thing you asked about was the need to hire additional employees if we put one of these in effect. Of course, it matters which route you guys decide to go. I did ask Stephen what his recommendations were in terms of when he gave us this information. He gave me kind of a 1, 2, 3. He recommended first that we move anything over the 200 hours to comp time. The second thing he recommended was incentivizing our employees to take the time off by the end of the year. I know in some people's cases that's a lot of time off you'd be taking. And then the third would be the payout. He really was not in favor of the payout because of the amount there. But at least I wanted you to have the information, and hopefully we can make a decision because as I mentioned in the last council meeting, we have moved over to the Edmunds system. This information did not transfer. So that's what took Stephen so long. When he went in here, he was like, he gave me the first time he gave me this, I was like, these hours don't look right to me. And so they realized that everything did not move over. So they have now moved everything over, and this is now accurate. Any questions?
Wow, that's right. So if we, first of all, I'd say I can't believe we let them do this to begin with. That would be and I say them as in we allowed them to do it. So there it is. They're dedicated to their job, so they don't take time off to do self-care, if you want to call it that. I know on the comp, I don't see how in the world we'd pay it out. I agree with Stephen. That would be the last choice I would have. We can do a combination of 2. I know I mentioned last time to bank the extra and let them use it in case of emergency. And that's essentially what the comp time would be. So we could actually do number 1 and number 2 and move it to comp time and incentivize them to use it as soon as possible. And with only 1 person with the sick time, I probably would pay it out. That's just the way I feel about it.
Just a reminder, I'm not allowed to get comp time.
Why not?
I'm a charter officer.
Well, I know you're exempt. You're exempt. I don't know that it says the charter officer can't do it. But there we have other exempt people that are on this list, is what I'm trying to say, I guess. That's why I'm saying I don't even know why it's here. Because I guess it's not overtime. Does it say in your provision that as a charter officer you can't take comp time? Or does it simply say you're exempt, an exempt employee?
Yeah, it's always been exempt.
Yeah, you're exempt. Yeah. Well, a lot of these other people are exempt too, but we're talking about giving them comp time. So I think we would, if we did that, we'd have to give it to you. And the police chief is comp time. I mean, he's exempt. A lot of these people are exempt. Yeah. That's why they haven't had time to go take their vacation, because they're the boss. They're the boss.
And that we know is true.
So how do y'all feel about it? I mean, you can't just throw it in the garbage.
No.
Is what the system would have us do.
We'll do our best to work with taking care of our peeps.
I think the comp time bank, I wouldn't call it a bank, but that's what we called it where I worked before, was a comp time bank. And if you use your other, you can, and get it down just a little bit, you can actually take your next, like you use down 40 hours, so that you're now 40 hours under. Your next 40 hours could come out of your comp time. Some of y'all have been here so long that you're getting a lot. Because it's based that way. The longer you're here, the more you get. I've worked at places like that as well. And that's why you accrue it so fast. Because you worked here a while. I mean, I worked at the hospital for 30 years. I was accruing like 12 hours a pay period. So every 2 weeks I was getting like 12 hours. And there was no way I could use it that fast because I had to go to work. So, and it's really hard to people that are committed to their job to know that they're needed to walk out the door, even if it is for self-care. What do you think we should do, Miss Sue?
Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, regarding the exemptions, I would need to take a look at that. I don't know off the top of my head. So I could work with Sue on that, see where we're at.
Even if it's a one-time thing, which is why you may want to call it a vacation bank rather than comp time.
I would probably agree that the comp time makes the most sense, just because we haven't budgeted this $75,000. It's a lot of money. We may want to look at the possibility in the future of allowing people to cash out. I have done that in the past where, like at the end of the fiscal year, you could cash out a certain amount. I mean, you probably would not want to cash out 511 hours, but maybe they could cash out a week or two or something like that to kind of also help get this figure down. But I think the comp time probably makes the most amount of sense, at least for everybody except for Latricia, and we'll kind of work on Latricia separately.
Ms. Wright, what do you think?
Kirsten's going to look into it, and whatever you all decide, that's the right thing to do.
Bring it back.
We're not violating.
Do what you think.
Honestly, I don't.
Oh, sorry.
I don't really see or understand how putting it into comp is really going to benefit us. Unless we are going to make them take time off.
It only benefits them more than it benefits us because we're not throwing it in the trash. Because right now they're only allowed to get a certain number of hours, and we let them accrue it anyway.
Right. I definitely would not say throw it in the trash. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is if we put it into a bank, they still have hours that are accruing that they're going to have to take the time, which is going to add to. Or it's just going to sit there and stay the same, and you're still going to be in this position.
Yeah, it won't add any more.
It won't add any, but it won't take away either.
Not unless they use it.
Right. So, I think we should, we have to do 1 and 2 because the excess can't go in the system anyway.
Right.
But we have to make sure that they start taking the time off.
Huh? Just joking. I said, I'll take my payout.
I started saying, I can't believe I'm going to say this out loud, but I'm going to. If they would be willing to take half of it, we might could pay it out. Since they're going to lose it anyway, we might could pay out half of it.
How are they going to lose it?
Because the system won't hold it. It only holds up to the cap. The new system. The new system's essentially dumped it already.
Let's see what Ms. Jones.
Thank you, Mr. President. The comp time's not going to help most of them because they're already in the sick bank and they've already contributed. So it's really not going to do much unless you give that sick bank money back, and then you just have more and more hours there. As far as the payout, I don't know if this is going to go over well with the staff or not, but a lot of the larger municipalities will pay out on retirement or leaving. And if it's less than retirement, so retirement will be 100%, say. If you leave before retirement age or your years, it would be, say, 75%. And the reason they do that, instead of paying people out when these conflicts happen, because they happen to other municipalities as well, is because it's spread out. So it will be maybe $75,000 or maybe less if you decide to give them a percentage, but it only gives it to them when they leave. And unless there's life-changing money up there, none of the people are going to leave just to get their vacation payout. But I don't have the form, so there could be life-changing money up there.
I mean, it currently says we do pay them out when they leave, but we only pay to a certain amount, because that helps our liability. I mean, we have this as a liability on our books at the moment. Any CPA that looked at this would call it a liability to the city.
But you can raise it and you can make it anything that you want.
And we gave the 200 hours of vacation and the 800 hours of sick that we do pay out when you leave, even when you leave, not just because you retire. But they would pay up to the 200 hours at 100% when you left, and a quarter of the sick leave. And that's what our policy says now.
Yeah, there's no reason to pay them all out today unless you decide to do that. But you can pay them all out when they leave, which is what our plan was anyway. But I didn't hear that as one of the options.
Mr. Barber?
I'm trying to be delicate in saying this. You have people on that list that were told that if they took vacation time for years, they would be fired from their jobs. You had individuals on that list who had vacations scheduled, and at the last minute were told, no, you're staying home and you're coming to work. We had people on that list who spent thousands of dollars on booking trips, cabins, where our families went on vacations and we could not go because we had a director at the time that told us we would lose our job. And I think that's relevant here to when we're asking, why did we get this much time on the books? Because we worked for years under a director that constantly told us we would be fired if we took time that we were entitled to take. And I think that should bear quite a bit of weight in the decision that you make. Whether we put it in comp time, it's still on your books. So, you know, I don't know how much to not say that, you know, is going to get us in the newspaper, but I mean, there was some activity that occurred that was inappropriate, that was allowed, not by anyone here or anyone on that dais, but it was allowed, and now you're saying to the employees, too bad, too sad.
Can I comment to that?
I don't think anybody said that.
I would just say that nobody, like you said, nobody that was on the council at that time was aware of that. We are aware of it now. That's why that person is not here anymore. One of the reasons that person is not here anymore. Because we became aware of some of the issues that we had. But I will also say that's been 3 or 4 years ago. So I don't, you could have gone on vacation. I know you have. You have.
Ms. Jones, I take
3 or 4 years ago, you could have been burning down somewhere.
I take a 3-week vacation to use up the time that I currently get in November. I'm famous for taking my vacation. I still come in, don't charge you for the time because there's problems. Then I usually take another week sometime in the spring, and then I serve on boards in Marion County and serve on other things, and I take off time and use up time. I can't be away from my job anymore. I know the director can't be away. The supervisor of electric can't be away. We can't take any more physical time.
But you both of those people that you're talking about, and Ms. Jones, you're both exempt, just like the city clerk.
I'm aware, but we also have comp time already on the books because we were not always exempt employees. So I wasn't an exempt employee until a couple years ago. So I already have almost 200 hours under comp time. So you're just adding to that. And what's going to happen is it's still going to exist on your books. And in the meantime, the other thing I want to point out is that for each person, let's say they're here another 10 years and they have this time on their book, their pay is going to go up in 10 years, and you're going to owe this amount on that new pay rate. That's the one thing that wasn't mentioned tonight, as opposed to the pay rates that people currently are in. So you're actually going to save money if you don't leave it on your books.
No, we don't pay out comp time when you leave. We only pay out vacation.
Yes, you do. Look at your policy. Comp time is required by federal and state statute to be paid out at 100%. Annual vacation is paid out if it's not termination, if it's voluntarily departed. But comp time by state and federal law is required to be paid out. It is time comped that was in prepayment, that was taken and given because it wasn't paid out on. So it's required by law to pay out comp time at 100%.
Tell you what, Ms. Sue,
Yes, sir.
you and Ms. Ballou got a good challenge for the next.
Sounds like we
Mr.
have
Blaine.
lots of questions that we will come back with lots of
Blaine,
answers.
too.
All right.
You need to
Thank
include
you.
Mr. Bloom in that.
Yes.
So, Kirsten, when you guys are looking at this, because there are some people who can actually take leave and we not have to pay them extra. Can you look at that and see if that's feasible, legal? What
I
issues
will look
do
at
we-
all of that realm.
She'll have all
What
the
we're
rights.
required to pay, what we
Yeah.
are
I
permitted to
started
pay.
say, Miss Latricia, would you ask that Selena send us all the HR manual? I used to have it on my desktop, but it's not here. So, if somebody would send us the HR manual. The whole thing. Why would the HR manual be on the website?
All right. So they'll check it out and come back to us and have some answers. All right. All right. Mr. Hector left. Mr. Hector. I was going to see if you want to say anything. All right. Item 9, public participation. This is your second opportunity to address the council. At this time, anybody in the audience can come to the podium and speak for 5 minutes on any topic other than what is on the agenda. No one? All right.
Anyone on the Ring Central meeting wish to speak up? Unmute your mic and speak up now. Nothing heard.
Item 10, announcements, staff.
Yes. Just a reminder, next Tuesday, investiture meeting at 6 o'clock. For the ones that are being sworn in, could you please wear your pretty blue shirts, long sleeve shirts?
Can I request we do it at 6:15?
650?
6:15.
650.
That's a no.
I don't have a
Why?
I've already scheduled the judge to be here at 6.
He'll be fine.
Hey, please,
Yeah,
Rose,
please.
can you
Rolls with it,
entertain
believe me.
the
I can
judge?
I'll ask.
It's just that a meeting, as you know, conflict. So
I'll ask and I'll let you know.
We could just feed them first.
Yeah.
Council?
There will be no
Who
food.
said that? That was a good idea. Oh, Aaron said that.
Council? All right. Okay. I would like to say that it's nice to see that the gentleman who purchased the old gas station on the other side of the railroad tracks went by there the other day. A lot of it's all cleaned up. I see they got a trailer there with a fence around it. He's doing what he said he was going to do. And I'm bad with names, but the other night, coming home, Jonathan, Jason, and a couple other employees were dealing with a small sinkhole over by the Marathon Jobber plant, gas plant. And they were out there, got it knocked out and everything. And I will say, this goes for all of the employees who work for the city, utilities, police, and everything. When there's an issue, and I've gone around and seen them and everything, they work as a team. Police officers will come to assist, do what they have to do. But everybody works as a team in here. So I've gone by, watched them over behind Capital City Bank work on a project. There was 4 guys there. They were down in a hole probably 4 feet deep and just getting the water main, getting everything taken care of. Yes, we have old structures. Always wonder, why did it take so long for us to get things done? When we're given a grant, correct me if I'm wrong, it takes 8 months for us just to be able to get the money. So it's not like we're not.
It can be much, much longer than that.
Well, that's fine.
You may have to put the
But-
money out and then get reimbursed, which
Right.
takes a lot longer as well.
So that's a big reason why it takes quite a bit. Other than that, that's all I got. Anybody else? Mr. Mayor?
No, sir.
Ms. Wright? I know you have something to say there, please. No? All right.
I can't believe it's still daylight.
All right.
I make a
11
motion
o'clock.
that we adjourn.
11 o'clock.
Second is done.
All right. We got a first. We got a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
The
Who
time
second?
is now 7:31 p.m. This meeting's adjourned.